Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and it's Friday night. You did it. You made it to the weekend once again, and I'm thrilled to be here to welcome you into the weekend. Hopefully you had a great week, and hope you got a great weekend ahead. And thank you again so much for spending at least part of it right here with me. And, well, I'm not alone. I'm joined by the big branch himself. He's just kind of my right-hand guy. What can I say? And, of course, I'm speaking of Sheldon Thomas. How you doing, buddy? Wow, okay. Yep.
I'm doing great. Living the life here in Minnesota.
Living the life in Minnesota. Well, welcome to the show, buddy. Hope you're doing great as well. And thanks for joining me as we go through the weekend, the Friday night show. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of stuff going on here tonight. If you didn't tune in last Wednesday, of course, we had the lovely and wonderful Sarah Bignell of Yowie Central and Australia Yowie Research join us. And that was just an incredibly fun show. And if you hadn't seen it, go back and check it out. It was a lot of fun. And Sarah's always just such a breath of fresh air, just a fun guest. And we had a really great time talking about the Yowie as compared to the Bigfoot and a whole bunch of other weirdness that's going on in Australia. Coming up on this Wednesday's show, this next one, we are we're going to continue our trips down under on Wednesday, and we're going to be welcoming Gary Lynn from Australia Yowie Research to the show on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So our Wednesdays are going to be jam-packed, and then we're going back to the land down under on the following Wednesday, where we're going to be welcoming Cade Moya of the Believe podcast to the show. So we are heading to Oz all the time here. So if you're Australian, by God, we're bringing the home country right to you. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So the next, the 3 Wednesdays in a row are featuring our friends from Australia. And on Wednesday that Cade's joining us, Sarah is going to be returning as well. So we're going to have kind of a roundtable show going on the second Wednesday. So the next Wednesday is Gary Lynn, and the following Wednesday will be Sarah and Cade joining us here on Wednesday. So lots of Wednesday fun coming up, ladies and gentlemen. So tune in and mark your calendars and get ready to have a good time because it should be a blast. So, boy, I don't know, Sheldon. What do you think? What am I doing? Oh, I remember what I'm doing. I got to thank our sponsor for the Paranormal Portal. Of course, I'm speaking of Cryptid Coin, ladies and gentlemen, cryptocurrency geared towards cryptid research and investigation. And we are thrilled to have them as a sponsor of the portal. A lot of people are looking at cryptocurrencies as the investments of the future. And like anything else, it's you got to do your research, check into what you're doing. And I don't pretend to be an investment advisor by any means, but I'm really excited that they are helping to make the Paranormal Portal happen and helping to keep the lights on here. So if you were looking for a cryptocurrency investment, check out Cryptid Coin by visiting cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io, and learn more about it. See if it looks like a good fit for you. They're available on Pancake Swap, so it makes getting involved even easier. So, thank you, Cryptid Coin, for being a sponsor of the Paranormal Portal. So, Sheldon, how you feeling? You think maybe we should do some news?
Oh, I think that's a perfect place to start the night.
It's a perfect place to start every night. So why not continue with that tradition? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's head to the news. The most trusted news. Special thanks to Wes Germer for putting together that news intro. For those of you on YouTube, you get to see it. It's just a cool intro. But anyway, guys, we are going to head into the Paranormal Portal news desk and check out what's going on here. I've got a bunch of articles pulled up. I'm not sure what we'll get time to go through, but we'll get through as many as we can before the first break. And if you're new to the show, on Fridays and Saturday nights, we are simulcasting not only on YouTube, but we're simulcasting to TFRlive.com, and they are in turn simulcasting on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live networks as well. So there's all kinds of reach going on tonight. So if you're listening on iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live or TFR Live, you can, of course, join the conversation over at tfrlive.com/chat, or you can come over to youtube.com/paranormalportal and join us there. So then you'll see, everything that's going on if you so choose. But if you're just going to kick back and relax and listen, well, by God bless you. All right, let's get to the first article on our list tonight. For the Paranormal Portal news. It popped up its own ad there. That was nice. So I got to clear that first. And the first article, thank God for NASA, because they are, of course, getting neck deep in the UFO investigation realm after spending decades scoffing and dismissing all these claims over the years and dismissing witnesses. But now they're going to be involved. So we got that going for us. And according to unexplained-mysteries.com, NASA is working hard to keep UFO investigation schedule.
Wait, what?
I don't even know what that means. What are they trying to schedule the visits now or what? Must be a government operation. But it says NASA's working hard to keep UFO investigation schedule. It says NASA officials are reportedly ramping up preparations for the agency's investigation into the UFO phenomena. Back in June, NASA announced that it would be launching a 9-month study which will focus on analyzing existing astronomical data for anomalies that cannot be scientifically explained. While we haven't heard much about this since, officials have this week moved to reassure interested parties that the investigation will be going ahead this autumn as planned. It will be headed up by astrophysicist David Spergel. No offense to David Spergel, but that it's like Spergel. It sounds like a name from like Rick and Morty or something. It will cost around $100,000. At a recent meeting which discussed various science mission directorate SMD projects, officials confirmed that NASA is going full force on preparations for the UFO study. We got that going for us. Okay.
Finally.
Thank God we have NASA involved. This is really important to us, and we're placing high priority on it, says Daryl Evans, SMD's Assistant Deputy Associate Administrator for Research. How'd you like to say it? What do you do for a living? Well, I'm Assistant Deputy Associate Administrator for Research at SMD. That's a huge, that's a huge word mess. That's like a whole bowl of alphabet soup there.
Yeah.
The study panel will be made up between 15 and 17 people who will be some of the world's leading scientists, data practitioners, artificial intelligence practitioners, aerospace safety members, or experts rather, all with specific charge, which is to tell us how to apply the full focus of science and data to UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. I just love governmental articles because they make sure to give us every acronym possible, utilizing all the alphabetical letters almost. Jeez. It's not governmental unless they got a bunch of letters. But anyway, There you go, folks. Rest easy. I'm sure NASA is going to get to the bottom of this real quickly. What do you think, Sheldon?
I'm sure it really is on their top priority.
I'm sure it is. Well, it should be. My God, if you're the National Aeronautic and Space Administration, you'd think might be interested in other people already having been here with advanced technologies, but they're finally paying attention. So I guess we got that going for us. So that's the first article on our roster of fun here on the Paranormal Portal News. Let's get to the rest of this wonder and amazement. But special thanks to unexplained-mysteries.com. I love this site, and I hope you guys will check them out. Give them a visit. Check out what they got over there. There's so much more than we could ever cover on any shows that we do live here, but I just encourage everybody to support what they're doing because they do a hell of a job. But coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, our next article is, then this one's kind of cool. It says, vast megalithic complex discovered in Spain. Of course, megaliths is most popular, like Stonehenge and stuff, are these prehistoric stone monuments that appear to have been placed by people. And this sounds like they discovered a new one, so that's kind of cool. It says, archaeologists have announced the discovery of more than 500 standing stones in Huelva, Spain. The fascinating find, which is thought to be one of the largest megalithic complexes in Europe, spans an area of some 1,500 acres that had previously been earmarked for an avocado plantation. Oops. Well, glad they figured this out first. If a survey hadn't been conducted in advance, the stones might never have been discovered. Several different types of megalithic stones were identified, including standing stones, dolmens, stone enclosures, mounds, and cists. CISTS. The standing stones, however, were by far the most numerous, with 526 being counted overall. This is the biggest and most diverse collection of standing stones grouped together in the Iberian Peninsula. The project director, Jose Antonio Linares of Huelva University. The stones were all in remarkable state of preservation for their age, the researchers noted. Finding alignments and dolmens on one site is not very common, said project co-director Primitiva? That's a name? Primitiva? Bueno. Here you find everything all together. Alignments, cromlechs, and dolmens. That's very striking. There you go. So apparently there's another ancient site that's been discovered. And I think those are kind of cool, ladies and gentlemen, because maybe with it will come an increased understanding of what the hell these things were for. Oftentimes people believe they were astronomical tools to, watch the seasons and all of that. But, maybe there's more to it. So some people even suggest those are gateways to other dimensions or other universes. So
I'd be really curious to see what comes of it. Like if they, connect the dots as far as their placements, or if they line up with something in a certain way, that type of thing. Right. That's what I'm really curious of.
Sure. Yeah. Those are all possibilities, of course, as our understanding moves forward. Whoops. Hidden ad by accident there. But yeah, pretty cool. So there you go. More news. I bet you didn't know that before you came on the show tonight, right, Sheldon?
That's right.
It's new news. Gotta love new news. And so that's the second article. Let's see if we can get on the third one here. What's going on? Well, let me tell you. The next up, coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, is a story that I hope you're going to like. It has to do with the Megalodon. And, it's hard to understand how big is a Megalodon. Well, they were apparently enormous, like 60 meters or something like that. Some crazy size, just is amazingly huge things. And some people suggest that maybe they're still around. Well, according to unexplained-mysteries.com, Megalodon could swallow a great white shark whole. Like not even chew it, Sheldon.
That's actually what I was imagining when you were talking before that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, there is an interesting thing. I did see, I don't know, I saw it on, maybe it was the video shorts on some site, whether it was YouTube or Facebook, I don't remember. But it was, they were zooming in on I think it was on, God, where was it? Was it off the coast of Africa or South America or something like that? They were zooming in from space, from a satellite view, and they zoomed in, and they were finding this black mass in the water, which turns out to be some kind of bacterial growth, which is beneficial. It's not bad, but then they singled out one area and zoomed in, and they were able to see this shark from a satellite. This shark. Now, that same satellite had taken a pass at the same resolution over, developed areas as well. And they showed a picture of a school bus, and the Megalodon was bigger than a school bus. They think this could be an existing Megalodon that was out in the ocean.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's a big, big, big animal. Oh, my God, is right. So it was bigger than a school bus. I don't know. That's freaky. But anyway... the largest shark that ever lived would have, did I get it? Yeah, the largest shark that ever lived would have put even the man-eating monster from Jaws to shame. It would have been like a minnow, Sheldon. This is probably way too big for us to cover, but I'll read just a little bit of it here. It says, Stephen Rowe, an associate professor at the University of England, outlines the research. It says, in a new 3D modeling study published this week in Science Advances, we show that the giant extinct shark, or is it, how do you say this? Odontus megalodon was a true globe-trotting super predator. It was capable of covering vast distances in short order and could eat the largest of modern living super predators, the killer whale, in 5 gargantuan bites. It could even have swallowed a great white shark whole. It's the largest shark that ever lived, and it was around for a long time, from around 23 million to 2.6 million years ago, or more recent than that, maybe.
Yeah, true.
If you buy into it, it's possible. At one time, its range was enormous. The fossilized teeth have been found on every continent except Antarctica, which it's hard to find things through 2 miles of ice, but maybe they're there. These teeth are not hard to recognize if you come across them. They can be up to 18 centimeters long, which is a lot of centimeters, I think. I'm not really familiar with the metric stuff, but that sounds like a lot of them. Just why this formidable predator went extinct remains a mystery. Or did it? It could have been linked to global cooling or competition from other predators, such as orcas, and it says in parentheses, killer whales. Oh, really? This is just one of the many unanswered questions. So, are they still around? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, again, we talk about the oceans, and we know that we've only surveyed like 5% or maybe up to 15. I don't know. I've heard varying numbers, but in any case, that's still a lot of ocean left to really understand. So, was this satellite image legit? I don't know. It looked like a shark. Mm-hmm. It really looked like a big shark. So.
I mean, then again, we've only discovered like 15% of the ocean. Like legitimately anything could be in those unknown parts.
That's true. Legitimately anything, including, what is that thing from
Aliens?
No, well, yeah, those two. What is that thing? The thing from Clash of the Titans. What is it? Released the Kraken. The Kraken.
Oh, the Kraken.
Yeah, could be a Kraken's out there too, for all we know. I don't know. I'm just saying. But anyway, there you go, folks. Is the Megalodon still real? I don't know. Could be. There's a lot of stuff out there we don't know, but maybe they're not extinct after all. But makes you not want to go swim in the ocean much.
Oh, God, yeah.
Although I guess it doesn't matter if it's an 18-foot shark or a 60-foot shark. It's going to be about the same result for us. But anyway.
It makes you think, though, too, what's scarier? The middle of space or, like, the bottom of the ocean.
Well, I guess they're both kind of terrifying in their own rights, right?
Yeah.
I think they both would be, but we're not equipped for either of them as it stands. So,
No.
all right, so let's get to the next article from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a creepy one. This is definitely ghostly or something else. Could be demonic, could be ghostly, could be some other kind of presence. But it says, woman claims that her bathroom wall is bleeding.
Oh no.
That's not what bathroom walls should be doing, just for the record. So, unless you're Dexter, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
A TikTok user attracted several million views after posting up a video of blood coming out of her bathroom wall. Okay, first of all, I would be highly, highly skeptical of that video just because it was featured on TikTok.
Oh,
I mean, really, if you had what you thought was groundbreaking spiritual activity, would you feature it on TikTok? Is that your first? Well, maybe, I don't know. I guess people make a lot of money if they get the whole viral video thing cooking, but it seems, it just seems like probably not the first place that people think about posting it, but maybe it is. There have been many recorded cases of bleeding walls and statues over the years, mostly in relation to claims of divine intervention, paranormal activity, residential hauntings, and other similar things. This latest example comes courtesy of TikTok user @LexiRay, who attracted a lot of attention after she posted up footage showing a strange red fluid leaking from her bathroom wall. She maintained that she had lived in the property for 20 years and had never seen anything like it. Oops. Oh, I got to tell you, too. Remind me to tell you a story. Remind me that I have a story to tell you.
Okay.
It's nothing major, but it was just something I saw today. I was like, ooh, should I? And I decided not to. But the blood had appeared for the first time the night before and seemed to be dripping down from behind the bathroom cabinet. However, upon opening the unit, she demonstrated that it was coming from a crack in the cabinet itself, not from something outside. The wall is definitely bleeding, she said. It's straight out of a horror movie. The clip, which can be viewed below, has since racked up over 5 million views. And I don't know. I guess we could probably check it out. It is kind of interesting. For those of you on TFR or listening, I will try to explain what's being showed, but I will post a link in the TFR chat if you happen to be in there, so you can check it out for yourself. The video itself is on the very bottom of the page that I just linked in the tfrlive.com/chat. But why is my wall bleeding? ? Okay.
Can anyone help explain to me why my walls are bleeding?
No, let's not listen to you. Oh, there's some red fluid. It looks like Halloween blood, right? But it does look like it's coming from under the cabinets that's mounted in a wall. It's like one of those cabinets, for those of you that are watching, that are like dug into the wall with the mirror that flips open. Much like I have here, actually, but mine's currently not bleeding, but it does kind of look like it's coming from inside there. I don't know. Strange.
Well, I have deduced that she is right. It is red fluid coming from behind her cabinet.
But is it blood? See, now that's the thing. Now, there have been claims of blood, and, in the past, like Charles Berlitz highlighted a story, I think it was from Georgia Police Precinct, where their walls were bleeding. And they tested it, and it tested as human blood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's really, really, really creepy. But is this the case here? I don't know. Could it be? Maybe. It's probably more than likely some kind of bacteria or something that's oozing from her walls for any number of reasons that none of them are very pleasant. But there's certainly, any kind of condensation or fungal. There could be a fungal thing that's happening because of an overhumidity. I just don't think you jump to blood, because it's a red liquid. Sure, it's creepy. It's not what you'd expect to see coming from your bathroom wall, but is it blood? That's a pretty huge claim without testing it. It looks like blood, but I don't know. There is more mundane reasons for that to happen than being some kind of harsh spiritual thing.
Well, yeah, even in chat, people are, Dr. Manhattan said water in wall, I think one person said this too, but water in the wall creates rust, the color of red, so it could be a leak mixed with a lot of rust behind the cabinet.
Good point. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate that. That's a good point. And it really speaks to the fact that, normally walls don't bleed. If they do bleed, then you got big problems. But so far, I don't know. It's a red fluid. It looks kind of convincing, but is it blood? Well, until she has it tested, it's, just red fluid at this point. Yeah. So anyway, cool though. I mean, it's very interesting, very compelling. It deserves a second look, but it deserves to be like really truly researched. Like she should be collecting a sample and bringing it to the police or calling someone to come test it. I don't know how you do that, but certainly if you called the police and said my walls are bleeding, they would probably take a sample and have it tested for free, and you could find out. Unless you're hiding bodies, then you probably don't want to do that.
I mean, that's another thing too. Is like if there was red fluid coming out, my first instinct, like, oh, let's get the cabinet out and see what's happening.
Sure, but I mean, she may just not know how to do that. For her, it's built into the wall, and she pulls on it and it doesn't come out. Okay, that's a lot of people aren't gonna rip apart their wall to tear out a bathroom vanity cabinet, but. Yeah. If it's bleeding, you probably have good reason to do that, or get somebody over there that can. I mean, I don't know. Again, I think it's probably more fungal or something like that, or rust, as Doc said. That's a good point too. But we got about time for one more, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get to this one. And this one's kind of interesting. It's brand new from unexplained-mysteries.com. Mystery gnomes keep appearing in couple's garden. Now, I don't think this is paranormal, but it's somebody having a good time with these people. So it says, Stephen and Christine Locke have been plagued for years by garden gnomes inexplicably showing up outside their house. Garden gnomes, which typically resemble small bearded characters in pointy hats, are quite a common sight in gardens across the UK and Europe. But for one couple, these innocuous-looking little characters have been turning up unannounced outside their home for the last 18 months. Well, somebody's got a lot of money to keep throwing gnomes at them. Stephen and Christine, who happen to be the mayor and mayoress, well, that's probably why then, of South Molton Town Council in Devon, first became aware of the phenomenon when they first arrived home one day to find that there was a gnome sitting in their garden with no indication of who had left it or where it had come from. Over the next 18 months, several more would suddenly appear without explanation. The couple never saw anyone leaving the gnomes, and no notes were ever written to explain them. I just remember coming home one day and didn't take much notice. So if you ever find gnomes, you might have a problem. But anyway, folks, we're going to go to the first break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes to get back at the show here, so don't go away.
Here's the second word, fascination. A bit.
right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and we are over the first half hour already. So it is now the second half hour of our 2-hour show. So we got a full 3 half hours ahead of us. So hope you're not going anywhere. Don't have any plans, because we'd love to have you stay. But remember, those of you who are here, if you're not subscribed, please get subscribed. We'd love to have you stick around and come back for all of our live shows. If you would be so inclined, just hit the subscribe and ring the bell. And if you are, but you want to let people you know, please share these videos far and wide and let others know. So the phone lines are open now if anybody wants to call in and share their own paranormal experience or whatever. But before we go any further, of course, we have a Discord community. And Sheldon, would you mind posting the link to that on the YouTube chat?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You can get involved in our Discord chat. And essentially, it's a wonderful group of people that are also on the Discord community. And there's lots of topics over there. There's a general tab. There's Bigfoot. There's Dogman, ghosts, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, and cryptids in general. So there's all kinds of interests groups with plenty of articles and links and YouTube videos that people have linked in there to check out, as well as just this new feature that we're doing. And done shattered mine. I'm trying to find my mouse now. Where the hell did it go? There it was. Okay. But we started this new thing that we're doing to tie the Discord community into the live shows. And that is, we have these questions of the week. And that's a new conversational thread in our Discord server where we're going to pose these questions for those of you that choose to in the Discord community to comment on. And certainly those of you here in the chat can comment on them as well as they're live. But the Discord people are going to get the first mentions. But Sheldon, what was the question for tonight's show?
So, question 2 out of 3 of this week. Many suggest that perhaps aliens live amongst us here on Earth, or are they simply passing by? What do you believe? Now, our first commenter, Android Purity, says, I am not convinced they live among us, walking around on streets in disguises. However, I do believe that it is likely they have at least one base hidden somewhere, either underwater base or inside a huge mountain or Antarctica or the dark side of the moon. There's been some actual evidence toward that possibility. However, I haven't personally seen any evidence of them walking around in plain view beyond word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe that too. I think that I think that they must have a base somewhere hidden. Sure. I don't see why they wouldn't, even strategically.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason that we see USOs, or unidentified submersible objects, is because that's probably, if they have a base, that's where it's most likely going to be, because where's the one place we don't go much? And it's the ocean. We just don't go into the oceans very much, or waterways. We visit them, we splash in them, and we recreate in them. But for the most part, we're on land. And so if they want to remain hidden and undiscovered, the best place to be is where we don't go. And certainly there are sightings of UFOs in ponds, inland lakes, and of course the oceans at large seem to be a real hot spot. And there's apparently a shelf that's off the coast of California where the land goes out and then just suddenly drops off. And it looks like, or it is. I've heard stories that they've taken submarines and you can go actually underneath California for quite a while. So it seems like there's this shelf where California is. But there's a lot of UFO sightings in there. And, of course, off of Key West in Florida, there's tons, and off the East Coast as well. There just seem to be certainly everywhere. And even this lake that I live near, it's called Lake Ponderay. And it's spelled like PEND and then O apostrophe RIELLE or something like that. I forget how it's a French thing, but it's an incredibly deep inland lake. In fact, I think it's like number 2 in the world, or number 3, or maybe it's just North America, but it goes down a long way. In fact, it's so deep that the U.S. Navy actually has a base, or had a base, on the south end of it, and they would test submarines here before they hit the ocean. So submarine designs and stuff. So I mean, it's got a long history of that. But there was actually a special that was on one of the Discovery or one of the affiliated channels where Ben Hansen, who is a former FBI guy, did a research trip up here, talking to locals about seeing these fireballs, shooting around in the hills and in the skies and then down into the lake. So it seems plausible to me that they could be very well underwater, because that's the best way to avoid us if you're not trying to be detected. So I think that's a good point. But could they live near us? I think it's possible. I think that they could very well be, hiding in plain sight. They could be your neighbor. And how would you know? Everybody's got those weird neighbors. Like, what's wrong with those people? They never even talk to anybody. Are they from here? Maybe,
That's
maybe
me.
not. I know, he's looking out the curtain going, what are they doing? Why don't they go anywhere? Yeah. I mean, I'm very much a hermit as well. So I'm sure if people think there's aliens here, I might be high on the list of potentials, just because I don't go very many places. I'm busy, but I'm also just content. I don't need a lot of stimulation. But is it possible? Sure. I think it is. They seem to have, obviously technologies we don't understand. And I don't know how hard it is to fool our senses, Probably not real hard. But anyway, What other one do we have?
So Maggie M10 says, I think the rhesus negative factor is a very interesting topic within this discussion.
Yeah.
I first heard the scientific theory that the Rh blood type may be extraterrestrial a few years ago, much like the theory that octopuses came from another planet. It is said that only 15% of all human beings have the Rh factor. Rhesus negative blood can be given to anyone for a transfusion, but people with rhesus negative blood cannot receive any other blood type. There is also a loose list of traits that belongs to people with Rh blood types. Physical, mental, and emotional awareness are all heightened, and blue or green eyes with orange hair is often seen. The most intriguing part of this is the mother's immune system attack rhesus blood positive babies. And so I, being rhesus negative, received anti-D injections to have 2 successful pregnancies. Oh, interesting. I looked into it, and someone mentioned the work of Robert Seffer, an anthropologist. He said in his book, Species with Amnesia, Our Forgotten History, quote, if mankind evolved from the same African ancestor, then everyone else's blood would be compatible, but it's not. Rhesus negative blood type appears suddenly 35,000 years ago in Cro-Magnon?
Yeah, Cro-Magnon.
Okay. Where did the Rh negative come from? Why does the body of an Rh negative mother carrying an Rh positive child try to reject her own offspring? Humanity isn't one race, but a hybrid species. And I find that very intriguing. I hope more scientists look into this because of me. This makes a lot of sense. My loose guess is to this question would be, they're already here living amongst us.
Yeah, that's a great point. And
Maggie, yeah.
Yeah, the whole Rh negative thing is huge. I've heard that many people have parroted that same thing. It's like, well, how does that happen? And it's a great point that if we came from one ancestral tree, then there should be blood compatibility then, right? But something is profound, and I don't pretend to know what the rhesus factors mean, and maybe you do, Sheldon. But
I have no idea.
Oh,
no, I don't know.
All right. Well, I thought you did for being a medic and all that, but
no, they didn't teach us about that.
Okay, but it is really curious. Where did this anomaly come from, and how did it suddenly just appear out of nowhere? But I will say that is it possible that could have arisen with the interbreeding? Because they say that that there's still Neanderthal DNA within a lot of European bloodlines. So could that have been where the introduction of the Rh negative factor came in? I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitballing ideas as I'm sitting here thinking about it. But
It's not a bad point, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that occurred to me now, but I don't know. I just don't know enough about it, but I think it's a very good argument that, something happened along the line there that introduced this whole different type of blood in there. And, I think it's very curious. There's one more, but it was a little profanity laced, wasn't it? That was
it?
Yeah, I think so. ZX81V2. Worst thing about it, you're the alien to this planet. Humans don't fit right. Oh, that one wasn't the profanity one. If we evolved here, then we should be in line with the planet, but we ain't. Ill-equipped to survive in the harsh environments. That's a great point.
Yeah.
And that certainly, to me at least, lends credibility to the thought that were we engineered at some point, being, created for some measure. And of course, there's a whole bunch to do with the Anunnaki in that thought line, and that perhaps the human race was a created race in order to do their bidding. And I guess again, there's no knowing for sure, but it's great to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because this is the power of the discussion and sharing ideas. And so thank you to everybody that participated on that thread, and there'll be another one. So if you're not actually in the Discord yet, please get into it, because we'd love to hear your thoughts on there as well. But was there any comments in the chat? Rachel left one and said she was talking about the Lake Titiwaka or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's supposed to be UFO witnessed at Lake, whatever that lake is in Peru.
Yeah. And then, and I answered saying, yeah, I think that's, again, where they probably are hiding. And she says, my vote is underwater, either the oceans or secluded lakes up in the world's mountains. No land tourists. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if I was going to hide somewhere, I would want to hide where the people aren't, And so we glide on the water, we splash in it offshore and stuff, but we're not diving, investigating waterways and stuff that much. So a lot could happen under there, and of course, they can hide. I witnessed this with my own eyes that UFOs can hide in plain sight. They can just not reflect or absorb or not reflect the spectrum of light that we see. That was my own personal experience, and it blew me away. I could see it in infrared with night vision binoculars, but I couldn't see it in the with my naked eyes. So it was hidden. It was hidden. So I don't know why, but they could be right over your house and you wouldn't know it.
True. Yeah, did you hear any noise when you saw it? Like, did you hear any distinct noises?
There was no noise at all.
Wow.
Just the normal ambient noises, but yeah, I mean, there was nothing to indicate that it was there at all. So, yeah.
Well, Rachel gets it right, says it must have some evolutionary advantage, or would it leave the human lineage in a few generations? I think she's talking about the RH negative or the.
Right. I mean, that's very true. I mean, it would just, if it was, how did it propagate though? That's what's weird. It's like, because, back before there was, advanced pharmacology and stuff. So if you had an RH negative woman that was pregnant with I guess it would have just ended in a miscarriage then, right? There would have been no way to offset that medically. So, I mean, that could have been a high reason for infant mortality, or I guess it wouldn't even make it to birth though, right? It would cause a spontaneous abortion just because the mother's body would continually reject it. Yeah.
That's actually interesting too, because because of that rejection process, I'm surprised it wasn't, for lack of a better term, I lost it. Natural selection out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm surprised it hasn't, if it came up 35,000 years ago, especially.
Well, there is a correlation too to abductees. That's most abductees are actually RH negative, and maybe that's why they didn't suck me up when I saw them, because I'm O positive. They don't want my juju. So yeah, I guess they passed me up because I didn't fit the bill. But yeah, That's interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. So, but again, thank you to those of you that participated in that. That's awesome. And keep watching in the questions of the week thread on the Discord. There'll be another question after the show tonight. We'll load a new one in and get ready for tomorrow night's. So there we go. My husband is a... I'm not sure where you're going with that, Tracy. I'm just, glancing in. You don't want to be a negative woman. No. All right. So anyway, let's continue. Now, next, I want to go to an article that we've been working through over a couple shows, doing segments each night on it. And this is a thought catalog article by Emily Madriga. And it's 23 doctors and nurses share the paranormal stories that make me believe every hospital is haunted. And again, this is from Thought Catalog, and we've been covering little bits of this for the last several shows, but let's get back to it. I don't remember. I think, we did that one, Hell A Clogged. But the next one on this list, and these are, I've often, many times on the show, talked about how I think that hospitals, of course, are paranormal hotspots. And why wouldn't they be? Because they've seen agony, they've seen joy, they've seen sadness and pain, and every emotion is so deeply imprinted on those walls and on the floors and on the very building itself. And if those kind of highly charged emotions draw these, sometimes drawing entities there, maybe perhaps some people did pass away there and didn't really realize what happened. They're in the state of confusion or any number of reasons. But, prisons, hospitals, and there's a few other places like that, like sometimes nursing homes, and which are kind of like hospitals in a lot of ways, or psych wards and stuff like that. They are such hot spots for paranormal activity. So it doesn't surprise me. And I think that there's a good chance that, I don't know that every hospital is haunted, but I'm pretty sure they've got some presences there. Now, when I hear haunted, to me, that means some kind of disruptive spiritual presence. I don't consider the fact that somebody might have a ghost hanging around being haunted. To me, haunting has a negative connotation. So that's kind of how I use it. And truthfully speaking, I think everywhere has got a quote unquote spiritual presence. I think we're always in the company of spirits, and maybe sometimes they're aware of us, maybe sometimes they're not. Maybe it's one of those time things. But hospitals are definitely one of those places that if there's a place that's going to be haunted, it's going to be a hospital. So the one that we left off to start with tonight is Bloody Ghost. It says, this story is more about my mom. She's a nurse. She was walking through her nursing home and acting like it was a normal day, but it wasn't. People were looking at her really weirdly. After a couple hours, someone asked her what happened to her child. And she asked what they were talking about. And they said that everyone has been seeing a bloody boy walking beside her all day. Then she looked behind her and no one was there. Then all day after that, people kept asking what happened to her child. When she got home, she looked up every incident at her nursing home. She found something about a murder, but I don't remember the whole story. So this child's spirit allegedly kind of latched onto her, Sheldon, and just followed her around. What do you think of that?
Could be intimidating, could be kind of beautiful, depending on how it's kind of looked at.
Yeah, well, there's that. I mean, it must have been a hell of a manifestation, because everybody thought that there was a little kid walking with her. But why in a nursing home would they think that she'd be dragging a bloody kid through the place?
That's what I was thinking too. Like, why wasn't anybody questioning?
Yeah.
The bloody child.
Right. Like, hey, are you going to get that kid some Band-Aids or what's going on? You're a nurse, God's sakes.
Oh my God. But it's interesting because everybody could see it but her. So.
Right. And maybe it's because it was following her. It's like she was just doing her thing and just noticing people looking at her strange all day. Like, what? Is it something I wore? But they were seeing a whole different situation. But very creepy. I wonder if did anybody try to address, oh, hi, little boy, you okay? you know,
sure.
or at least
Just, like,
bring it up.
staring, like, oh,
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
Maybe she wasn't a very popular nurse and everybody just avoided her. Like, oh, geez, Nurse Ratchet's coming. Hide the cookies.
Look at what she did to the kid. No, no.
Oh, man. That was by Marshmallow 88888. So very cool. That's a strange story. And again, you know, any of these stories are a leap of faith because we don't know. I mean, these are just aggregated from a Reddit thread. So are they legitimate? It's anybody's guess, but they're supposed to be real. So we're covering them as such. But, you know, any of these could just be somebody's writing, creative writing or whatever, or just pulling a gag. But, you know, if the phenomena fits, you know, it's not too hard to believe that several of these could be very much legitimate. Some of them, like walking around with the bloody kid around and nobody said anything until after the kid was gone. That to me is a little stretch, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
Rachel says, I wonder if it could be a tulpa of a nursing home resident who lost a child decades ago.
Yeah, I suppose it could be a projection. It could very well be. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I've had that thought many times, folks, is that, you know, how many people that are really haunted dealing with paranormal things. And it's not a criticism at all. But I think that we are profound creators, whether we realize it or not. We create our experiences to a profound level. So certainly, is it possible some people could be projecting their own manifestations? Yeah, I think so. So.
Science is even scratching the surface of that idea.
Yeah, I suppose it is. But yeah, you know, tulpas are certainly a relevant point in any haunting. Whether and the other part of it is a tulpa. A tulpa is a creation, a projection. But if it's energetic enough, I really believe that they can continue on and continue to develop just like any other spiritual presence. That, you know, people could actually create these things. Think what you want, but there's plenty of spiritual ideas that would suggest that is the case. Most tulpas are very temporary, but it's possible they could continue. So anyway, the next one is Hannah. We'll call it Hannah. We had a little boy come by ambulance, and it was a toddler. His parents had put him to bed, and he was with a cold. Nothing serious, but developed tragically into more, and he started coming in and out of consciousness. Oh, dear. We had to do rapid intubation, and he ended up passing away a few days later. Aww. Before Mom and Dad made it to the hospital, he kept talking about his baby sister, Hannah. Not soon after, we had the life-saving measures, and I was distraught because I had a son similar in age and a daughter named Hannah. Fast forward approximately 2 years later, my family comes in with sick infant. They remembered me. I did once. I recalled their story, and I was their provider again. Their daughter's name was Hannah. It startled me, and I recalled with clarity the boy speaking of his sister, who I assumed was alive and at home. Nope, she wasn't even conceived yet.
Oh, whoa.
That's pretty wild. That's by R. Kellern, K-E-L-R-N. Oh, Kel-R-N, registered nurse. Okay. Yeah, so the child wasn't even born yet, but this kid knew about it, and that's pretty powerful. Kind of makes you wonder, what can we tap into? How much are we capable of? And that's the kind of takeaway I get from these kind of stories. It's like, is there a universal knowledge? Is there a universal thread of knowledge? People talk about the Akashic records, and that's basically tapping into a God mind, a universal mind, and knowing things they couldn't possibly know, and thinking of things they couldn't possibly think of, or whatever, and knowing histories or futures, premonitions of sorts, coming from the Akashic records. So is this a case where the boy was so delusional and ill that he was kind of had a foot in both worlds at that point and was tapping into that universal mind? I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah. Whatever the case is, very cool story. I saw my mom when she was pregnant with me, Wonder Woman says. Oh.
Wow.
I don't know how to, what do you mean before you have a memory of seeing her when she was pregnant with you? like a pre-birth vision. Is that what you mean, Wonder Woman? That's fascinating.
Wow.
That's very powerful. That's some serious awareness, and you kept it. If that's the case, yes, she says yes.
Wow.
That's so profound on so many levels, because of course there's the old mind wipe. We're born, we have no recollection of what came before it, generally speaking. Most of us don't. I really wish I did, but I don't. I mean, it's all a blur up until I was, soon after I was born. My earliest memories having my diaper changed as an infant, but I often wonder what was going on before that? What did that look like and feel like? But that's really, really cool that not only did you have that vision, but you remembered it. So,
whoa, it's that time already.
It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to the hour break, so don't go away. We'll get right back to it and more. We got some Bigfoot reports coming up as well in the second hour, and other creatures, so don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me, and their lies keep falling apart.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to hour number 2 of the Paranormal Portal. It's cruising by tonight, but we're absolutely thrilled you're here and a part of our journey. As always, Sheldon, how you doing so far?
I'm doing great. It snuck up right on us, that break did.
It always does, but that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's continue on. We're working through an article right now, ladies and gentlemen, from Thought Catalog, if you're just joining us. It's written by Emily Madriga, and the article from Thought Catalog is 23 doctors and nurses share their paranormal stories that make me believe every hospital is haunted. And some of these stories are really fascinating. Again, are they legitimately true? Well, we don't know. But they are represented as true, and so that's the spirit in which we're sharing them. So we'll see. Yeah. Let's see what we can uncover in the next one. But thank you all for being here. Those of you that are here, and those of you that are coming in the door for the second hour. We seem to be a second hour show a lot too. Like the numbers climb in the second hour. So somebody's show just got done. That's okay though. We're happy to have you whenever you can make it in the door, and if you can't make the live shows, we're happy that you watch the replays when they're available. That's whenever you find the show, we're thrilled to have you with us. So thank you for coming in. The next article on this list of fascinating articles is a dark figure. My aunt is a nurse and told me some stories, but this one stuck with me. There was an old lady who insisted on being strapped down at night in her bed. She told my aunt that there was a dark figure that was trying to grab her and take her out of the room, where she would die. My aunt and other nurses obliged her, and then for the next few nights she would check on her, and it would look as though someone was trying to pull her from the bed randomly while she slept. My aunt is then off, and whoever is this lady's nurse does not strap her down that night. Nurses found the old lady dead, laying on the floor by her door, the hand stretched out past the door and into the hallway.
Oh my God.
Yeesh, that's creepy. Is it true? Well, we don't know, but if it's true, that's all kinds of creepy. That was written by Circle_Stone from Reddit. So yeah, that's a if that story is legitimate, that is all kinds of just freaky.
That's a scary dark entity type of thing. Like that's really dark.
Maybe she wasn't a good person in her life, and they were just trying to wait for her. You remember the movie Ghost? I don't know. Did you ever see that, Sheldon?
Yeah.
The part where the creepy guy died, and it's like, oh, hey, there you are. And then all of a sudden the shadows start screaming and coming at him, and it's like, oh, God. I think church attendance went up after that movie. I was like, I'm going to church. I'm going to be good. Because who knows what that looks like, but God, that would just suck. And getting dragged to the pit of doom or wherever it is. But I don't know. That's creepy stuff. So it better be good, for goodness sake. Mm-hmm. Next one up is the woman. It says, I used to work in a nursing home as both a CNA and an LPN, and while nothing too crazy happened there were definitely things that happened that were out of the ordinary. Excuse me, hold on. I didn't cough. I just had to swallow.
Oh, okay.
I remember one time after someone had died, I was cleaning up her body, and the door to the room swung wide open, even though it had been firmly latched, and nobody was there. It gave me the creeps. Hell yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
There were instances of furniture being moved, lights turning on and off by themselves, and toilets randomly flushing by themselves as well. I also remember I had one resident one night who asked me to make sure I closed the door to the closet that was at the end of her bed. And she told me that when it was open, that woman kept going in and out all night and keeping her awake. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Jeez. You know, what is it with closets? Well, there's a belief that closets can also be, I don't know why. I mean, you know, the whole adage of kids seeing things in their closets. Well, there's also a lot of portals that happen to apparently be found in closets as well. I don't know what closets are, if it's the fact that it's a door. So if you look at some ancient sites and stuff, well, there's all these doors that are kind of just doors. They don't seem to really go anywhere. They kind of go into a wall. But the belief is that, of course, that was the gateway for the ancient ones to come, or whatever, or the visitors or whatever. So are doors a universal symbol for portals? Well, maybe. And especially doors that aren't normally used. I mean, we open closets, we grab stuff from closets, but we don't generally pass through that threshold too much. Most of our closets are much too small to get into. Unless you're a very wealthy person, then you have a changing room. But, you know, for most of us, it's a door we open and then we get stuff out. So if we aren't physically going in and out or through, could that then become a spiritual portal? I don't know. Maybe. Spiritual gateway? Maybe. There are certainly esoteric practices and beliefs that would suggest that that's the case.
Well, and there's also the fact that we could even put energy into that reality being a thing. Like the fear of the closet as children, where as we fear that, we're putting energy into that. Sure,
projecting and creating. Absolutely. There is that.
Yeah.
Anytime you're afraid of something, you are giving it a reality. So if it's real enough to cause you fear, then you are feeding it energy. So
bear can't hurt you if you're not scared.
I wish that were true.
Just kidding. No, I know.
Shark won't eat you if you're not scared. Oops. Yeah. So the next one is this. No, this is the one I just read. Derp. That was by Eternal Refugee or Refuge 86. So the next one up is death predictions. It says, I'm an ICU nurse. A patient, what do we get a comment? Rachel says, clothes might be saturated with residual energy from the people wearing them, and the energy attracts entities. And that's a good point, too.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Good thought. That's a great thought. Maybe that's the case. But I'm an ICU nurse. A patient's son rang the hospital at 11 p.m. on a Saturday night saying he was sure his dad was dying. His dad had had a severe stroke and was doing okay. Recovery would be difficult, but he wasn't expected to die and was pretty stable at the time. I was looking after him, and he was a lot of work because he would try to get up but couldn't walk, so he'd fallen a lot. The son really wanted to come in, even though it's way past visiting hours, but, you know, I'll bend the rules in a good cause. I figured, what the heck? It's his Saturday night. Come on in, sit with your dad. Patient died about 2 minutes before the son walked in the door. It was like a switch was turned off, and he just died. The last thing he said to me was, am I bothering anyone? I told him, of course not, even though he had some very frustrating behavior because of the stroke. The son just started crying and screaming, I knew it. How the heck he knew? We were all hit and a bit freaked out. That was by Penguin Tummy. The names crack me up. I read it, Penguin Tummy. But yeah, I mean, how would the person know? Well, you know, premonitions, feeling that coming. Yeah. That's certain.
There's those cases where people get like a feeling that something bad's going to happen, and then later they find out why.
That something bad happens. Yep.
Yeah.
Next one is she wanted her ring. When I worked at a funeral home, I was told a story about an elderly lady that had died. The husband said he wanted her to be buried with her ring, as she never took it off. My coworker was in the morgue and was washing the body, and she removed the ring to mark it down on the paperwork. And as soon as she did, a styrofoam head they used for wigs went flying across the room. She just said out loud, all right, I'll put your ring back on. No more disturbances. Yeah, you gotta think about that. It's like, how many people after they pass away are there watching? It's like, yeah, make sure you get under my nails. I mean, really,
wow.
I don't think I would, though. I wouldn't want to be there like, okay, I think I'd be wanting to go do something else, but sitting there watching them prep your body or whatever, I don't know. That's creepy. That was by Wacky Detective. The next one up is They See Someone I Don't. I'm a nurse. I've witnessed quite a lot with Alzheimer's people. They often develop their own scenarios in their own head and often accompanied by vivid hallucinations. Once during night shift, I heard a woman scream in fear. Checked on her, and she managed to climb into her wheelchair in pure panic, wanting to flee her bedroom. Asking her what was wrong, and she thought the building was on fire. Now, what's important to mention here is people often make claims that people are just crazy or dreaming badly or something, but this is not the case. People with hallucinations have been found to actually see, hear, smell something. When their hallucinations occur, as the same locations in their brain are stimulated as if they would get real impulses. That woman actually saw fire. She actually smelled fire. She didn't just make that up to be crazy. It's what her brain was told her was happening, and she was in real panic for her life. And the same applies to when those people see someone else in their room. When they want me to guide someone out of the bedroom who isn't actually there, seemingly standing right behind me, and it makes no sense to discuss with them that no one's there. To them, someone is there, and you better do your best effort of improvising to guide that someone, or even if it's no one outside, play along and they'll be fine. This to me is the scariest thing at work. They see something that you don't. That was by King of Anarchy. Well, that's the case. So if we look at the fact that I believe that we are profound creators, we create our experiences. Well, if a person is having a hallucination, they are creating that in essence as well. And again, you were just talking about fear feeding something. Well, does it become a tulpa, or is it indeed a presence that they're seeing, and they can just see it because they've got a foot in both worlds kind of thing? So I don't know. That's pretty wild.
Also, we have a call.
We have a couple calls actually. Wow. All right. Well, let's get to the first one. And let me find out where my mouse is so I can get this. All right. First call is coming from area code 254. You're on the air. How you doing? Hello?
Hey, Grant. It's me, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kathy.
It's Wonder Woman.
Yes, of course. How you doing, Wonder Woman?
I was going to call about the statement that I made a while ago about seeing my mother before I was born.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. Oh, yeah. Please. I'd love to hear more about that.
Okay, well, this was when I was older. We were grown, and we were at my mother's house. My brother, I had two brothers and a sister, and we were all there. And we were just joking around about some of the places that we lived. And we lived in some old houses that were usually had to be fixed up, Well, my two brothers and sisters were all born like 1 year apart, and I came last 6 years later. Oh. So I was probably a surprise, but so but they were talking about this one particular house, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's the house where Mother painted the kitchen floor green, a really dark green." And my mother looked at me real funny, and just kind of cocked her head, and she said, "How would you know that kitchen floor was green?" She said, "You weren't even born yet, and we moved away from there before you were born."
Ooh.
And I said, "Well, I saw you paint the floor." And she said, no, you couldn't have. And I'd never been back to that house ever.
Uh-huh.
And I told her, I said, I was standing up on top of, or looking down at you from on top of the top cabinet. And I said, I was watching you on your hands and knees as you were putting that paint on the floor. Wow. And she just turned a really weird color. And I said, well, you painted yourself into a corner and you couldn't get out of it without walking back over the paint. And she said, there's no way you could have known that. Wow. She said, I didn't let anybody know that I had done that.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
Because she was embarrassed about what she did. And so she painted herself back out of the kitchen. And it was kind of a cool time of the year, and she had the heaters on.
Uh-huh.
And she had the windows open, but she had all of his kids lay down for a nap, and she was tired. She laid down in the bedroom, had all of us kids on the bed there, and she said that they all went to sleep, and she said that I started kicking in her belly, and that she woke up and was real groggy, and the paint fumes had gotten into the bedroom. Ooh. And she had to get everybody out of the house real quick and turn the fire out. And she said, if you hadn't been kicking so hard and woke me up to wake the others up, we might have all died that afternoon.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's incredible.
And she started crying. She started crying. She said, there's no way you could have known about that floor.
That's amazing.
I said, well, I did. I was up there, up real high, looking down at her doing it. So,
not only you seeing that is incredible, but again, you retaining that is just, oftentimes we look at near-death experiences as like an assurance, like, well, people are clinically dead and having these experiences and then coming back. But you came into the world remembering something from being purely spiritual. That's amazing.
Wow.
Well, see, I knew it and I remembered it, but I didn't know what the timeline was. I mean, it was just a knowing that I had, kind of like a memory.
Right. But, even then, it's like you're this small child. Even if you were alive, nobody would put you on top of a cabinet in order to paint,
No, she was pregnant with me. And I, to this day, have never been to where that house was or where it said. It's so long ago, it's probably not even standing anymore.
Sure. Wow.
But I've never been there.
Well, you apparently were.
So.
That's amazing.
You definitely have some ability.
Yeah, well,
I have trouble. I know this sounds bad, but I'm not. I don't close my mind to everything, but I kind of have a little bit of trouble with reincarnation and stuff like that. But
sure,
I don't know for sure. I don't know who knows for sure.
Right.
But stuff like that. Well, really. It really makes you wonder.
It really does. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, though, too. I mean, it's a double beautiful thing. It's first of all, it's beautiful because it's just another reinforcement to the idea that life continues. Life started before all of this and continues after it. But also the fact that you were somehow, whether it's divine intervention or whatever, but you woke her up enough to get everybody out of the house, so that you had a family to come into. Yeah.
And, if a mother is experiencing some type of toxic reaction to something, a baby will react. And
sure.
that baby is already part of your family, in my opinion.
Sure.
And so I was probably reacting to what she was taking in, and it saved the family. So
yeah, well, it saved everybody. So that is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, I've had a lot of different things.
That's true.
That's just one of them,
Yeah.
They say that one person, usually if they have one thing that has happened in their life, that there are multiple occasions where something paranormal or unexplainable has happened, and I truly believe that. I'm living it. So
yeah, well, amen. And I'm with you. I think that everybody has had paranormal experiences. They just don't always acknowledge them even to themselves. It's just like, well, that was weird. But yeah, I think the paranormal.
Yeah, and then just
really
go on. Don't think about it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so cool. Thank you so much for calling in and being a part of the show tonight.
Okay, thanks, Brent.
All right, have a good
Sheldon.
night.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
That's really cool. That's amazing. Very, very, very cool story on a number of levels, but I just love that she was there seeing all of that happening and able to articulate it. It was just such a clear memory. She could articulate all of that detail. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Before she was even born. That's amazing.
I know, right? Wow. Okay, so we got another call here, and this is coming from, let me see, here we go. This is coming from area code 360. You're on the horn.
Hey, Brad, it's Lane.
Hey, Lane, how you doing?
Hi.
I'm doing good. The bone hoe says hi.
Well, hello to the bone hoe as well. I love that name. That's outstanding. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing okay. I finally got my deck primered, but it's a huge deck. It's like 25 by 65. It took me 2 days to power wash it and 3 days to brush the primer down.
Oh, my God. That's ambitious.
Wow.
I know.
Oof.
I'm exhausted. I'm too old for this stuff. But anyway, that's why I wasn't here Wednesday, because I have to do it when it's cool, and it's been 90 every day, so you can't paint out there then,
No, I understand
but
completely.
Anyway, I've got a couple of stories that happened to me. I've been off all week, but the 2 weeks before I got off, before I had vacation here, and I drive a bus, and they were both in the bus, and I connect two counties together. Okay. So one end is in the city part, and the other end is out in the middle of nowhere, basically.
Oh, okay.
Out in the woods. What I call the LBB, land of Bigfoot and banjos.
Okay.
So that's where I drive out there in the LBB. And so I'm leaving at 6:35 in the morning. So it's 6:35 and it's light out. And the sun's just coming up over the trees. And so I'm probably doing 15 miles an hour, just getting started through the light. And there's this super bright light. I mean, like hurt your eyes, bright light. Okay. So I look at it and go, what the heck is that? And I'm thinking, oh, the sun is, reflecting off of something.
Sure.
Which is weird because the sun was coming up on the other side of it.
Ooh.
So it's facing west. So it was a light. It wasn't, a reflection. And so I thought, what the heck is that? So now I'm doing like 5 miles an hour, and it's a 50-mile-an-hour road. So I pull over, and I'm staring at this thing. And if you think about an isosceles triangle, so it's about 150 yards up and 150 yards away from me. And so I pull over and I'm staring at this thing and I can't see it very well because the light is so bright coming off this thing. It's about the size of a pickup.
Ooh.
And I could see like feet, like legs coming out from the bottom to land on. It kind of looked like one of those, when they had the old Apollos and they landed on the moon.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like what they landed on the moon with.
Oh.
But it's about the size of a pickup.
Wow.
Just over the trees.
Okay.
And so I'm looking at this thing and all of a sudden, poof, it was gone.
Oh my God.
As I'm staring at it, it just disappeared.
Okay,
And I
Elaine.
thought,
Elaine, just
that's a heck of a way to start out Monday.
I want you to stop. I want you to stop there because we're just seconds away from going to the last break. But can you hold? And we'll come right back to you on the other side. So just hold the line.
Okay.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna get right back into this call with Elaine as soon as we come back from the break. And there's the bell. So don't go away. And we'll continue, and we'll be talking some Bigfoot on the other side, too. So don't go away, everybody. We'll be right back.
I learned very young from my parents, absolutely, that you don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. And you do that every single day, and soon you have a wall. And I think psychologically, the advantage that gives me over a lot of people that I have been in competition with in different situations is it's difficult to take the first step when you look how big the task is. The task is never huge to me. It's always one brick.
Me too. Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn.
ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it here for the last half hour of the show. Before the break, we, of course, had a phone call from our mod and good friend of the show, Miss Elaine, who is on hold now. She just told us about seeing some kind of UFO on her bus, and now we're going to get back to her and see what else she's seen. Elaine, are you there?
Oh, I'm back, right?
Yes, you are back, and we're back. Sorry.
Welcome.
At break, the cat jumped up in my lap, and and the Bono, who's a full-size golden retriever, came over, nudged him right off, and tried to climb in my lap. The jealousy is strong with that one. Let me tell you.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, you shared the story about seeing this light and what looked like some kind of lunar capsule almost with landing gear, and then you said it was there, and then boom, was just gone.
Yeah, and it was about the size of a pickup. At first, I thought, oh, maybe it's a drone.
Right.
And I go, not that big. I don't know anybody who can afford a drone, especially out in the LBB. It's not, real richy out there.
Right. Yeah, you're on the sticks.
Yeah.
That's interesting because now, when it disappeared, did you see it travel, or did it just like it blinked out of existence?
No, I came out of the transfer center, and you have to come to a light, and then you have to make a left. And make a right, and as I made my right, there's a huge clearing where there's a great big church and some other buildings and stuff, and that's when I saw it, and what I saw was the light. The light had hit me right in the eyes.
Right.
So I don't know if it was trying to hit me in the eyes or if that's just the way it was. But yeah, it was a little bizarre. Yeah.
That's a lot bizarre. Yeah.
It disappearing like that. Yeah. So I get to the other transfer center in town, and one of the guys goes, "What's up with you? You look a little strange." And I go, "I don't know what I just saw." And I explained it to him. And a couple of the other guys were there, and I thought to myself, "Oh no, they're gonna tell a supervisor I'm gonna end up with a P test."
Oh well, yeah. The good news is you don't have to study for those.
No, I never do. I never have to study for those.
Oh wow!
But, they're gonna think I'm on drugs or something. Yeah.
So you said you had two stories. So that was the first one. What was your next one?
Right. The second one was a little creepier.
Ooh.
And so I don't leave till I leave at 6, 7, and 8, but at 5 after. Okay. And the other buses, I drive like a shuttle bus. Okay. And the big buses, they leave right on the hour. So everybody leaves, and I got a couple people on the bus, and I have to wait till 5 after to leave. And it's right by a library, and the library's got these beautiful decorative, like cherry or plum trees or whatever, and they're about 1 story tall. That's all they are. And so I'm sitting there, and I pull up to the front, and I just kind of look behind, and the cherry trees like moving all over the place. And I thought, what the heck? And so I get out of the bus, and I wander over that way. I'm thinking there's some kind of animal up in the tree making the branch bounce up and down. I get about halfway to it, and the branch bends all the way to the ground.
Oh.
And I can see, they're not, super, they have leaves, but you can see through the darn thing. And there's nothing there. There's nothing on the branch. There's nothing next to the branch. So I get within about 20 feet of it, and I'm looking at this, and the branch literally bends, and it's, a good 8 feet off the ground. The branch bends all the way to the ground, like something is pulling it down and holding it down.
Oh my God. Wow.
And I'm like 20 feet from it. And I look at this and I go, I've had enough for 1 week. This is like 3 days or 4 days later. This is a Thursday. The other thing happened on a Monday. I went, oh, what the heck is going on? So I looked at that, and I looked everywhere. There's nothing anywhere. There's nothing that you can see
Right.
And I just went, well, I'm just going to go drive my bus. I'm out of here.
That's crazy. So it had the appearance.
I left a minute early. It's like, I'm out of here. I don't know what that is. It can figure it out on its own.
Right. But it appeared like whatever was there had weight and was pulling this branch down, but you saw no figure or no outline or anything to indicate that something was there.
No, and there's nothing. It's nothing it can hide behind. It's a parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get any bad?
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have
and
any
I've seen a
bad
few
feeling?
weird things.
Go ahead, Sheldon. What?
Did you have any bad feeling or bad like a feeling of dread around right before or while it was happening?
No. I was just curious. I thought there was, a cat in a tree or a raccoon or something at first because it was just kind of bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
And as I got closer, I could see all the branches. There was nothing there. But when it went all the way to the ground and held, I just went, oh, no, I don't want any part of this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame you. That's
something invisible is pulling this thing. So there wasn't something in the tree bouncing on the branch. Something was
yanking it.
Pulling on it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm done.
That's really powerful. That's creepy, but
that was
also kind of...
Yeah, I didn't have any feeling of dread or anything, or I wouldn't have walked over.
Right.
But when I saw it being held to the ground...
Right.
I just thought, okay, too creepy for me.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I was brave enough to walk over there, and the branch had popped back up and was pointed towards the stars, just like it always is.
Yeah, that's so wild because my head's now. Is this in a very urban setting? This is in the city area where this is happening.
Yeah, it's the main transfer center. Everybody gets on the ferry and pops over to the other to Bremerton and stuff. So it's right there, right downtown.
That's so
right downtown. But I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anything shimmering or. Right. I mean, I was looking, like if something was cloaked or something. Right. Nothing. I could see nothing.
I mean, that's what's going through my mind too.
Bizarre.
Because sometimes when people have those experiences, they do see the old Predator thing, the movie Predator, where they can see a figure in a distortion of some kind. But you're saying there was nothing, no indication of anything.
I saw nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I saw nothing. It was just, that's enough.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see, because it in the way you're explaining it, it sounds like it wanted your attention. Like it was trying to get attention for someone to come closer. And then once you started coming, it bent the branch all the way down. Like, okay, and I see you're coming. Now check this out. And it bends it all the way down.
Yeah, and the branches, I can't reach it.
Right.
Where it had bent. It's not like it bent by the tree. By the tree, I could probably reach the branch, but it had grabbed it. It looked like something had grabbed it from the outside, and I couldn't. There's no way I could reach it, and I'm 5'6", and
sure,
I couldn't even get close to grabbing that branch.
That's amazing.
It was a good 7 foot up or 8 foot up. Yeah.
So, my head's just reeling with possibilities. What does it mean? Is it a cloaked Bigfoot? But
I have no idea.
You're in the middle of a city area, so it's like, well, what else could it be? I don't know. I mean, that's really amazing, though. I guess I'm really glad you didn't feel afraid by the experience. You were just like, okay, that's real enough. I'm going. And you chose.
Yeah, it got a little creepy there when it was bent and held to the ground.
Right.
And I didn't tell anybody about that one. I go, they're definitely going to test me on that one.
Yeah, sure. The pickup truck.
I'm not telling anybody on that one.
First is the shiny pickup truck, and then it's the dancing tree. Okay.
I know. Pickup truck with the bright light just above the trees. Oh my goodness.
That's amazing. I don't know. I mean, keep watch though, because it almost looks like something is trying to get your attention. I mean, that was very blatant. It could have just stayed there and doing nothing, and you would have never had any idea it was there, but it chose to make itself known by some measure to you. And then it'll be interesting to see. Maybe they're the people in the capsule that you saw. You never know.
Yeah.
It might be. I mean, seriously.
Don't scare me now.
No. I mean,
and the funny thing is, there's a couple guys that smoke, and they smoke not 10 feet from there because they have to get away from the building and away from the buses.
Yeah.
And there's a little island in the middle of the parking lot, and there's a big, huge ashtray type of deal.
Sure.
And they go and smoke over there. It's not 10 feet from there. So 6 minutes before this happened,
they were
over there smoking 10 feet away from it.
Yikes.
I know. It's like, what the heck?
Well,
whatever.
Be careful,
No.
I guess. That's one of those things. Yeah, you got to be careful because I don't pretend to know what the hell is going on here, but it's pretty interesting that you would have two experiences very, very close together. And I really think
a Monday and a Thursday.
Right. The same week, just days apart. So I really think that they, even with the UFO stuff, they seem to make themselves known, kind of like every phenomena. Sometimes they just choose to make themselves known to people for whatever reasons. And so it'll be interesting to see if there's a third thing that comes up after this. So definitely keep us posted.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take myself in for a pee test.
But
it's like, okay, what have I been smoking or what have I been taking?
Yeah, exactly. Getting the clam bake cooking or something. But yeah, just be careful. I mean, I'm not trying to make you worried, but it's certainly
I'm not worried.
An unusual series.
neither one scared me. They're just bizarre.
Right.
They're just.
That's really intense.
And I've thought, what could that thing in the sky be, or what that thing with the tree could be.
Yeah.
And I can't come up with any answers on either one. That's why they're so bizarre. I see all kinds of weird stuff, and then you can figure out, it was this or that.
Yeah.
It was just a bit weird angle or whatever.
Right.
But I can't think of nothing with this.
No, this
with
is
either
really,
one of these.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
But definitely keep us posted if something else does pop off. Let us know. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, well, there's a reason they call my route the Crazy Train.
I understand now.
That
is literally the nickname of my route.
Did they call it that before the shiny pickup or after?
Yes. My route's been called the Crazy Train for I've been doing it for going on 13 years now. Ooh, maybe that's why I'm on that 13th year.
Ah, there you go. Ooh. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. We appreciate you being calling in and talking to us about it. But yeah, that's really phenomenal. I mean, pun intended, I guess, but
yeah, exactly.
So,
phenomenal. Good one, Brent.
Thank you. Always unintended. I sound clever as hell, but they're always accidental. I don't ever plan those out, so I can't take a lot of credit for it. But anyway, yeah, let us know if more pops off. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right.
All right. You have a good night.
Good night. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That was cool. I don't know, man. That's some strange stuff.
Makes me think that they are connected.
Well, I mean, it seems that to have two very profound events happen in just days apart, that doesn't seem like it's just chance at that point, And that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I mean, I don't want to, cause anybody to go, well, I don't want to, I'm going to stay home sick. I don't want to cause alarm, but it is interesting. Wow.
That kind of like that feeling you get when you're being watched. Like, yeah, it could be spirits and all that, but what if it's something else, cloaked alien or another type of cryptid? That's kind of a creepy thought to me.
Yeah, I think it's a creepy thought to anyone. I think to have the idea that something you don't understand is just scoping you out for whatever reason. And I don't mean to imply that that's the case, but it's
Well, yeah.
I mean, none of it's been threatening, so that's the good part. And it sounds like maybe it knows you listen to the portal, Elaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give you something to call in about. You never know. But thanks again for calling. Everybody that called, thank you. And I guess we're going to get to some stories here. I promised you stories. By God, I'm going to deliver.
We shall.
Yep. The Paranormal Portal. Nobody will leave here saying the Paranormal Portal doesn't follow through. Because we're going to follow through right now. I'm going to go to a Phantoms and Monsters reports. And this actually has to do with the Bigfoot phenomena. Again, Phantoms and Monsters is Lon Strickler's site, fantastic site if you're into the paranormal and Fortean topics, mostly Fortean cryptids and such, but head over to phantomsandmonsters.com and check it out. You can check out all that they've got on the, hundreds and hundreds of articles on there, as well as links to Lon's books And you can find a lot more, including the Phantoms.
Oh, we got another caller, I think.
Phantoms and Monsters Radio. There's no other call.
Oh, never mind.
No other call. Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So you can check it out. Again, all the links are available on phantomsandmonsters.com. But the article in question, we should look for the area on Google Street View. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want people to give out their personal information if they don't want to, but yeah, that is interesting. I mean, that's the thing with the paranormal, is that, it doesn't seem to always make sense why something happened in a place. Like, for instance, just as a point of reference, so the famous video of the spirit-looking dog man that was walking behind that guy's house. He's doing a Facebook Live talking about the weird stuff, and shows the camera outside of his door, his phone. He's just showing where things happen, and then boom, on cue, something happened. Why there? I don't know. I mean, it's just sometimes things happen where they happen for whatever reason. I don't know if the place is distinct or important. I mean, if I know where to look, sure, I'll reference things like that, but that information hasn't been shared. So we'll,
Blue Line Bigfoot says he's on the line waiting.
Well, I don't know what line you're on, dude. You're not on my line. Blue Line, you're calling the wrong number. Did you call 720-923-0500? If that's the number you called, you're not on my queue. So call again. Try it again, Blue Line. I don't see you here. My queue is absolutely empty. So 720-923-0500. Those are the numbers to fun here on the Paranormal Portal. So I'll just wait. Instead of reading this article, we can always cover it tomorrow night if necessary. We got it like 8 minutes in it. 8 minutes. There it is. Now it showed up. Now I see it. All right.
Who you were calling.
All right, Adam, are you there?
I'm here.
Good to hear from you, brothers. Did you call the wrong number?
I did.
Yep.
I called the wrong number, and it went to like this chat thing. So the chat is on hold, and it had like this elevator music in the background. I'm like, this is and I just dialed the wrong number.
No, that wasn't us. I'm glad to hear from you, brother. How's everything going?
Things are good. How are you, handsome gentlemen, doing this evening?
Wonderful.
Doing good, man. Thanks. It's been a groovy period in time here on the portal, but we're having a good time tonight and thrilled that you called in. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, Blue Line Bigfoot is a research group of Adam and Jake, and they do some videos. You can check out their stuff on Blue Line Bigfoot YouTube channel. So talk to us, man. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was watching the show and I heard a little spot there coming on. You might be talking about some Bigfoot stuff, and
yes,
I just had this interesting story that kind of came full circle over this last weekend.
Okay.
And just to give a little background, back when we were in high school, and this is going back over 30 years ago, a group of my friends were on a camp out in this area not too far from us, and they had this strange encounter there. They were camping up on this ledge on top of this mountain. Quite a hike up there, and I just remember the story of I saw this UFO. There's this light in this UFO thing, and they were all freaked out. And I mean, it was like they were talking about it to everybody, and it was like this major thing. And since then, the whole time, I'm thinking there was a UFO, and that's just kind of how I left it.
Sure.
And then over this last weekend, there was a wedding that happened at like the base of the mountain in this like flow area, and you could oversee the whole Snyder Mountain range, and it was just absolutely beautiful. Okay. And so one of the guys that was on this camp out, who I haven't seen in many years, was there, and I know he had an encounter on that mountain, a different one, when he was up there hiking alone, where something was throwing rocks at him as he was walking through the woods, and it spooked him, and then he would walk further and another rock would get thrown, and it happened a good way down the mountain he got back to his car, and it freaked him out. And so I was like interested in talking to him about it. So I was like, hey, Robbie, want to talk to me a little bit more about the encounter you had up on Snyder right there where we're looking at the mountain? He's like, oh, yeah, with the orbs? I'm like, no, I don't know anything about any orbs. Then he was going on and telling us about the UFO thing that happened to them years and years ago. But I guess it wasn't like a UFO. It was more like one of the classic orbs that you see when you encounter Bigfoot a lot of times, how they're kind of paired together. You know, people have a Bigfoot encounter, then there's an orb, or there's an orb first and a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really interesting to me that, you know, it just kind of cemented my idea that these things are, the orbs and the Bigfoot are kind of like one and the same or related somehow. And to me, that just was like, okay, they're definitely a paranormal entity, right?
Sure.
And so that was like over 30 years ago too. And this also gives me the idea that these creatures, they stay in the same area or in the same spot for like forever. And I mean, and unless the places get logged off or whatever, I'm not exactly certain. But and so this area, Snyder Mountain, there's a lot of encounters, Bigfoot encounters in this area too. This is where we've had, you know, eyewitnesses see the creature, strange trail cam pictures, all sorts of crazy sounds coming from this area, and it's a place where me and Jake go to investigate Bigfoot.
Oh, okay.
And so, and I thought that, you know, it's just a strange place, and there's UFOs there, and there's this and that. But when Robbie was telling me the story that there was this orb that kind of came from down below the mountain, it wasn't in the skyline. It came from below and like floated up to where they were looking out of the vista from the mountain. So it came from down below and then up, and then it was like kind of like right in front of them out in the air, and then kind of like did its thing and kind of floated away back into the woods. And it was just one of those crazy things where, you know, you think you know the story, and then years later it has some kind of strange Bigfoot connection. It's like one of those things, which I just thought was completely strange and kind of cool. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. You know, so yeah, the connection between orbs and Bigfoot, and Bigfoot staying in certain areas for a long period of time for some reason, or is that like a portal? Is that where the veil is thinner and these things are going, you know, in and out of certain areas because of that? Or, I mean, there's a lot of questions, but it just seems like this particular area is a hotbed for Bigfoot activity. And the orbs and the Bigfoot are completely related. Wow. And it's just one more dot connected in the line of, you know, whatever you want to call evidence or sightings or whatever you want to call it. But I just thought it was really cool.
That is really cool.
Have you years and years ago, I thought it was a UFO encounter, when truly what it was an orb encounter. And I think that's like, you know, Bigfoot. So
that's pretty crazy. Now, have you and Jake ever seen any orbs up there when you're investigating?
No, we've never seen any orbs. Okay. We did get followed in a car one time coming down from Lake Placid by two identical orbs spaced perfectly apart. They seemed like they were connected by something, but the only thing we could see was like, you know, a glow. We had no idea what it was, just saw the light. And these two things really smoothly followed us down this road for you know, well over a minute, and then they just disappeared into the ground, and all these orange sparks came flying off.
No kidding.
And I'll never forget that. Me and Jake both saw it. Yeah, I mean, it was following us for a while. But it was two of them paired right side by side, perfectly, you know, they were the same distance apart the whole time, as if they were connected by something. But
that's amazing.
Eventually, when we took a turn around the corner, they just went straight, dived down into the ground. Sparks went everywhere, and that was the end of that. So as far as orbs go, that's like, you know, the closest thing that I could say we've seen to orbs. But being out in the wilderness, I can't remember ever seeing orbs. I've seen strange lights, but not like an orb. I've seen just like a light that was like shining in a tree about 30 feet up.
Yeah, that's
that was just like this bright, like it looked like a flashlight up in a tree.
Oh wow!
You know, when we were camping in a similar area to where I'm talking about, where these kids were camping.
Jeez.
So yeah, there was this light up in a tree, and we thought that, you know, when we were kids, we thought that there was like the neighbor kids climbed the tree and were messing with us. And then the next day we looked at where it was coming from, and there's no way the weight of that tree, as high up as it was, would hold any human, because it was just like this little nobody could ever be up there.
Sure.
They would have broken the branches.
Wow. That's
so
cool.
We've seen some lights and stuff, but not orbs. But it's just, there's a lot of stuff around this area that's like,
no question.
Just,
well, I appreciate you calling in, brother. It's great to hear from you. We're at the last piece.
I figured I'd just share that. That
Thank
just
you.
happened this weekend, and it was kind of like, brought back a lot of crazy notions of what goes on in the Snyder Mountain region, and I figured I'd just share it with everybody. And,
all right.
Hey.
Perfect, brother. Well, thanks for calling in. I do have to cut you off because we're all out of show time, but take care, Adam. Thank you so much, brother. It's great to hear from you. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And remember, we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern for another episode. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody.
This is iHeartRadio.